Hello and welcome back to Tim Roadie Drive Stuff. I'm Tim, and the stuff I'm driving this week is one of the most exciting cars of 2022 as far as I'm concerned. A family man who likes practical cars but has no money. It is the Dacia Jogger. It's a 7-seater MPV type thing, and normally 7-seater cars are north of £30,000. This is 15 grand. You what? Yes, it's finally here. It is Dacia's Jogger, their first 7-seater thing. I'm definitely going to call it the Dogger by accident because I'm a child. But anyway, it's basically a very stretched out Sandero, but it's still dirt cheap. £200 deposit, £200 a month for an entry-level one of these. This is a mid-spec comfort one, so it's £17,000, and this is a press car, so of course it's got all of the options. Every single available option is on this car, so that's 2 of them. Metallic paint and a spare wheel. This is an 18 grand car and it can carry 7 people. Let's take a look at it. Around the front it looks very much like the updated Sandero that came out in 2021, but that's fine by me. It's got these daytime running lights which look like an arrow, or kind of like Volvo's Thor's hammer daytime running lights, but these actually look sharper and more modern than the Volvo ones. And all models get body coloured bumpers, so there's no kind of bogo spec grey bumper option on the Jogger. It looks pretty good, doesn't look utilitarian. Around the side you can see the Jogger's desperately unsexy MPV silhouette, but that's fine. It is a practical car, and it is 4.5 meters, 4.55 meters long, which is half a meter longer than a Sandero and 20 centimeters longer than a Duster. It's got loads of glass, so you get tinted rear windows on mid-spec comfort and top-spec Extreme SE versions. Entry-level ones you just have to burn your children's retinas from the sun. And speaking of children, we should talk about safety. The Sandero last year, which this is quite heavily based upon, only got 2 stars in Euro NCAP crash test. And that was mostly because the car was fine for interior adult and child occupant protection, but quite bad for pedestrian protection, so not good for running people over, and it hasn't got a lot of fancy safety kit on it in terms of technology because it's a cheap car. But anyway, other stuff. 16-inch steel wheels on entry-level versions in this mid-spec one with hubcaps, 16-inch alloy wheels on the Extreme SE one, which also gets a few more other off-roady bits. But the real cool thing about this car is on the roof. Comfort spec and SE Extreme cars get these modular roof bars. They look like normal roof bars, but if you take the thingy that the manual for the car comes in and look inside it, you'll find a little hex key with a Torx head on it. And what you do is you flip up these caps here, and there's a bolt. Undo the bolt. And what you can do is you can rotate these bars, these middle bits of the bars, to go across, so you've got built-in roof bars without the need to go and buy extra bits and pieces. And these can take up to 80 kilograms, so you can strap stuff onto the roof. And I know that other manufacturers, I think Subaru has done things like this before, but this is so easy. I'm going to actually do it now, possibly with a time lapse, to show you how to do it, because I've not seen anyone do this on the internet, other than a French man from Renault talking about it for 5 minutes, but not really showing you the unscrewy bit. And he says you can do this in 30 seconds. It's more like 4 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to go and do this and show you what it looks like. Huzzah! One off. Got to get the other one. Now it's just a case of putting the bolts back in a slightly different location. Do them up finger tight first. Also, you've got to make sure you've got the bars the right way around so they're all aerodynamic. Otherwise, you'll damage the 44 mpg potential of this car. But anyway, going to quickly whiz these up. You can put the rear ones on here or here, depending on the length of your load. I think I've done this right. If I've not, tell me off in the comments, because I'm sure you will. And I've lost one of the bolts. Oh no, there it is, other pocket. There you go, that was about 3 minutes. Now I've got crossways roof barsy things on my Jogger. That is really cool. I like that. Well done, Dacia. Around the back, you get the slightly crushing realization that Dacia hasn't used this as an excuse to use its funky new logo in the front, but whatever. You get a slightly apologetic Jogger logo there. I would have plastered it up here across the rear window like something from the Essex Max Power scene of my youth. But anyway, the boot. Let's open the boot, he says, trying to find that. It's been a long day. Does have reversing camera. Mid-spec and top-spec ones get reversing cameras. This got reversing sensors as well. The very top-spec one gets front sensors. This is about 215 litres of space with all 7 seats up. I don't know why there's a toy cow in there, but anyway, that's more than you get in a 7-seat Discovery Sport, which are twice the price easily of this. But what you can do with this is flick these little levers here, show you my pants, and pull these loops here, and you've got 700 litres of space. That is a colossal amount of space in there. This is the first of my 2 practical niggles with this car though. I want those seats not there because I'm not going to use this as a 7-seater. And what you can do is flick 2 little red things, let's do this one, like that, and then one-handedly grab the seats, because these only weigh 10 kilos. I remember when you used to have to remove the seats from Skoda Yetis, they weighed about a quarter of a ton. But yeah, these are quite light. However, if you only want to use this as a 5-seater and get a bit more space, it's got to sit in your house or your garage. And you can actually order this car as a 5-seater in Europe, but not in the UK, which is a bit of a shame. I'd like the option to basically have a Dacia van. If you flip those middle row of seats down, it's something like 2,100 litres of space, which is huge. So I've knocked my microphone off again. Let's look at the back seats. Excuse the horrifically ugly shop. I'm going to try and get into the back row because I'm a 6'3" adult. Will I fit? I don't usually fit in the back of 7-seaters, but let's give it a whirl. That folds down and then folds forward like that. Actually, oh, probably gonna knock my microphone off. All right, I'm back. Let's lock myself in. Come on, seatbelt. Hey, I'm in the back of the Dacia Jogger, the 3rd row. My head isn't touching the ceiling, my feet fit under the seat, and my knees are barely brushing the back of the 2nd row. This is legit good for adults. I've got armrests, I've got a cup holder. Obviously I've got a seatbelt, I've knocked my watch off getting in the back. I'm really impressed. How have they done that? I don't fit in the back of a Range Rover 7-seater, barely. The new one that's not out yet. I probably shouldn't have told you that. But anyway, let's check out the middle row because that actually isn't as impressive. I'm so happy. I've never been so happy about such a boring thing. My second practical niggle about the Dacia Jogger is that the back seats aren't all that roomy, and I'm talking mostly about fitting child seats. And I've got some flack on Twitter because apparently my child seats are massive. I think they're just regular maxi cozy ones. I've had one for a 1-year-old which faces backwards and one for a 3-year-old which faces forward, both on the same kind of basis. And you can probably see the 3-year-old one, she's got basically no room for her legs or for her feet. I don't think they're my feet, they're attached to her. But anyway, the baby one here, I've had to move my driver's seat forward into a slightly unnatural driving position just so I can get a 1-year-old baby seat in, which seems a bit naff, really, considering this is sold on practicality and that I fit in the back. But anyway, I guess there's got to be compromises. If I jump in, we can see that, yeah, that is forward more than my normal driving position. My knees are still touching it. It's soft, it's squishy, so that's not really a problem. And I have got loads and loads of headroom, and the middle seat is actually quite wide and quite comfortable, so it's not really an issue. But there are only 2 ISOFIX points in this car, one there, one here, so you can't fill this with lots of child seats. But you know, it is what it is. It's a reasonably cheap car. It's a very cheap car for the size. I've got a 12-volt socket down here, electric windows, and that's your lot. Let's go up front because there's not much more up there either. Sorry if I'm a bit out of focus, but anyway, up front it's like Dacia Sandero in here. All the plastics are hard and robust. However, this little bit of fabric across the dashboard is like a little ray of sunshine, bringing some joy into the cabin. I really like that. The infotainment varies a bit between, or a lot between the 3 trim levels. Entry-level essential ones get basically a mobile phone holder, but there's a USB socket up here so you can plug your phone in while using the apps on your phone, which is fine, to be honest, for 15 grand. That's all right. Mid-spec ones like this get an 8-inch colour touchscreen. I have to plug my phone in to get Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and there's no built-in nav in this one. In the top-spec one, there is built-in nav, which apparently isn't great, and you get wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I think. But yeah, otherwise it's fine in here. I really like the physical climate control buttons, which all light up in the middle, like off of its Audi TT. That's very cool. And it's just very easy to use the aircon. You get basic manual aircon in the entry-level one. These get proper climate control. Steering wheel's got cruise control, buttons to flick between the menus. Really easy to read the dials, simple, few little screens to tell you MPG, speed. And that's basically your lot. Oh yeah, the speakers. There are only 2 speakers in the entry-level one, so I guess your backseat passengers don't get to hear anything. This one gets 4 speakers, and the top spec one gets a whopping 6 speakers. But anyway, enough waffle about that. Let's go and drive it very briefly, find out how it drives, and then we'll come back for an outro. Right, I want to go for a drive in my new Dacia Jogger, and it's very easy. You put your foot in the clutch and there's an engine start button like off a race car. And that 5.2 litre V10 really howls into life, except it's only got 1 litre, 3 cylinders and 110 horsepower, but it's fine, to be honest. 0 to 60 times, who cares? It's 11 something seconds. But anyway, the first thing I noticed when I got into this is that the driving position, you can get really comfortable. You can also accidentally put the windscreen wipers on like an idiot. But yeah, the steering wheel adjusts in and out and up and down. Not a huge amount, but just enough to get comfortable. The Dacia Duster I drove last year, I felt all twisted behind the wheel. I don't in this. It's really easy to see out. Got big mirrors, a nice square window at the back. I've got little C-pillar windows, whatever they're called, rear quarter lights. Yeah, it's very easy to live with and very easy to drive. The manual gearbox is just pleasant to use. The clutch is light. All the controls do what you expect them to, which is always handy when you're driving a car, isn't it? I do love motoring journalism and all the stuff they get into talking about, all the nonsense. But anyway, sorry, I digress. What I really should say is that this is pretty comfortable on broken roads. The ride is a little bit firm, but it's not going to annoy you or put you off. It's just cheap car suspension, but it's well tuned and it works well. The steering feels normal. It doesn't feel like some weird disconnected thing. It's got better steering than the last Mercedes G-Wagon, which isn't saying much, but actually this is quite good. Anyway, the technology on this that is there to keep you safe is fairly basic. Obviously you've got airbags, you've got automatic emergency braking, which is kind of a bare minimum thing you have to have, so it will automatically stop you if it thinks you're going to have a crash going to the back of someone. All models apart from entry level 1 get blind spot warnings in the mirrors, so if you're on a motorway and someone's coming up behind you, alongside you, it will give you a little orange warning light in your mirror to tell you not to change lanes. But that's pretty much it. There's no radar cruise, there's no self-driving stuff, obviously. But I'm going to get onto a dual carriageway now, get up to 70 miles an hour and talk about how refined this is for motorway journeys. Let's go. Okie dokie, I'm about to get onto my little bit of 70 mile an hour dual carriageway. Let's accelerate up from 40, round the corner, a bit of understeer because it's very wet and that was driving like a bit of a knob. 60 miles an hour. 70 miles an hour. There we go. There is quite a lot of wind noise from this door mirror, and I am hearing a weird ghostly howl from the roof, and I realise that's my fault because I've left the modular roof bars fitted across the car rather than in a line. So there we go. You don't get that howl when they're fitted in line as roof rails rather than roof bars. So yeah, pro tip, if you don't want to howl, put them back when you're not using them. It also will improve your miles per gallon, but otherwise, yeah, it's not the quietest car at motorway speeds. It's not the loudest either, to be honest. It's just average in terms of refinement. Now, as I said, I've been getting about 40, 45 mpg out of this. I don't think you'll get much more than that. But hey, it is what it is. I could do big miles in this comfortably with my podcasts on the Apple CarPlay. Happy days, right? Let's get to a twisty road and see if it has any sportiness at all. Doesn't. Really doesn't. Why would it? Don't watch the next bit. Click away. Go and watch Chris Harris or something. Right, I'm on my twistyish road now. I'm going to accelerate from 30 to 50 miles an hour in third gear. There we are. This 1 litre engine is a torquey little thing. It's turbocharged, so it is just got decent punch. You get to about 3,000 RPM and it pulls you. It doesn't tug you right off into the distance, but it is quick enough. Performance is decent. You're not going to worry about on motorway slip roads struggling to get up to speed or anything like that. And now I'm on twisty road. The steering is accurate enough. There's not much body roll. It's It's not super stiff and sports car like, but you might have missed the point where this is a 15 grand 7-seater Dacia. You could probably put slicks on it and turn it into a Formula 1 car, but that's not really the point. It handles tidily enough. The tyres don't have loads and loads of grip in the wet. I would say that. The tyres, I can't remember what they are, but they're reasonably cheap ones. But yeah, you could go down a country road at 50 or 60 miles an hour and you wouldn't feel like you're going to die every time there's a corner, which is a bonus, real bonus. There's nothing really cheap about the way this drives other than those tyres. It's just a decent car to live with. The brakes are perfectly good. They have to be by law. It's not really a surprise. Obviously it's got ABS. It's not 1984. But anyway, decent driving car, the Jogger. Back to you, Tim, for an outro. Right, in conclusion, what do I think of the new Dacia Jogger? Well, I'm blown away by the value that this car offers. For 18 grand, I can literally fit 7 adults in this. And I mean that, and I hate the word literally, but I literally can fit 7 adults in this. It's fine to drive. Like the Sandero, it's quite comfortable. It's not massively fuel efficient, but it's good enough. The performance is just fine. The interior is fine. I've got Apple CarPlay. I've got Android Auto. What more do you want? Dacia's done a very, very good job of picking all the bits you really need in a car and putting them on something that is great value. Now, on the downsides, that middle row of seats for big adults, I wish it was a bit roomier, but then I'd be whinging about the back seats not having much space. To be honest, I'd rather have a bit more room in the middle seats than the back seats. I would take that sacrifice because I'm going to use the back seats less often. I wish there was a 5-seater version on sale in the UK for people that just want a very, very practical car, because this is a hilarious van-like thing when you take those seats out. And when you fold the middle row seats down, it is a van. It literally is a van, but one that is reasonably refined, easy to live with. It's got all the right tech. I wish it was going to get a better safety score than I think it is, because it's not got much safety tech on it other than the bare minimum. But other than that, yeah, I met my hero, and I'm quite pleased I did, because it's very good as a family car. Thank you ever so much for watching. If this was helpful, please like, please subscribe to the channel, go down to the comments, and call me whatever the Romanian word for a turkey is. Last time I did potato, and I got called kartoff quite a lot. But anyway, thanks for watching, goodbye. It's gonna rain.